fun fact. I was looking for something to wear for this video, and I found this shirt that I literally bought when I was in high school, and it kind of still fits. It's like more like a crop top now because I am not the same size I was in high school. But I figured it would be apt to wear it for this video. So when we last found our hero, Naomi, she discovered that Joshua was her twin brother and that she is a dark angel, whatever that means. She's still learning to harness her powers. She discovers that she has a force field. Joshua is driving her back to her house, and there is a giant car crash caused by Zalgo. The car flips over 6 times, and she is pulled from the wreck, and she then passes out from exhaustion and blood loss. So that was the end of chapter 5, and we are now going right into chapter 6. So here we go. Chapter 6. I finally woke up to the sound of soft beeping. I sat up slowly and looked around. The door opened and a nurse walked in. She dropped her clipboard as soon as she saw me and ran out of the room. I frowned. A lady walked in, followed by the nurse that had run out of the room. I'm glad to see you're awake. My name is Sarah, and I've been the doctor watching over you, she said. Hello, I said. I'm surprised you finally woke up, she said. Why is that? I asked, concerned. You've been in a coma for 2 weeks, she said. 2 weeks? I asked, shocked. Sarah nodded. You had lost a lot of blood, but luckily for you, someone had the same blood type as you, she said. I'm kind of guessing most hospitals and blood banks would have the same blood type as her, but maybe not because she has like magical powers, like whatever. Can I ask who? I asked. Your brother, Sarah said. Joshua's okay? I asked happily. Yes, he woke up 3 days ago, she said. I smiled, happy that he was okay. Sarah looked at her clipboard. You had a pretty bad crash. Any idea what happened? She asked. No, I don't, I said, lying. All right, well, I'll leave you be, she said, leaving with the nurse following after her. I looked over to see a girl in another bed across the room from me. She smiled. Glad you're better, she said. Thanks. And you are? I asked. Right. My name is Jane Arkansas, and who might you be? Jane asked. Okay, so the reason I got so excited about seeing Jane Arkansas sitting across the bed from Naomi is that Jane Arkansas is Jane the Killer. And I'm not going to go into a full-on creepypasta backlog backstory about Jane the Killer, but basically, crash course, Jane the Killer, her family is killed by Jeff the Killer, and she gets like mutilated by him, and she makes it like her goal in life to hunt Jeff down and kill him. So I'm very excited to see what her role is in this story because oh my god, wouldn't that be an awesome twist? You know, she and Naomi like band up, and then it's like they go and like see Jeff, and it's like, hey man, how does it feel to be on the receiving end of this shit? And then they, you know, kill him in a very gruesome way. That would be a very, very interesting twist to this, but I doubt that's gonna happen. My best guess is that the author is putting in all these random creepypasta characters just to prove her knowledge of the universe. But anyway, it just tickles me to see Jane Arkansas here, because props to you, girl. I'm Naomi Jansen. It's nice to meet you, I said. Jane nodded. So what are you in here for? I asked. Broke some bones, she said. Sounds painful, I said. Not as painful as a car accident, Jane said. I laughed a little. While you've been knocked out, some guy in a suit has come and gone bringing flowers and stuff, Jane said. That's nice, I said, smiling to myself. The door to our room opened and June walked in holding a guitar case. Hey girl, glad to see you're awake, she said. I'm like imagining her just being like, hey, nice to see you're awake, you know, come and practice. Battle of bands, very important. Hey, how's it going? I asked. Good. We've kind of been holding up without you, but it's not the same without your guitar playing and singing, she said. How much longer do we have until the big band battle? I asked. About a week. The day before, Grace's parents are having a back-to-school party at their large mansion, and the whole school is invited, June said. Great, I said. Oh, hey, I brought you your guitar, she said, handing me the case. I would hope the guitar would be in the case. It would kind of suck if she came in and she's like, holding the guitar case, and it's like, oh hey, I brought you this case, and it's filled with like rocks or something. I don't know. How'd you get a hold of that? I asked, knowing my guitar was sitting in my room back at the mansion that was full of killers. It was sitting at my door, she said. How could it have gotten there? I asked. Dunno, she said. So where's the rest of the band? I asked. They're here. They stopped to talk to a guy from school, she said. What school do you go to? Jane asked. Crest Hill High, June said. That's where I'm going, Jane said. Maybe we can hang out sometime, June said. Yeah, that's fine with me, Jane said. Leah and Jade walked in. There are a lot of J names in this book. There you guys are, June said. Sorry, we got distracted by this really attractive guy with violet eyes from our school, Leah said. So we had to stop by his room and say hi, Jade said. That attractive guy with violet eyes is my twin brother, I said. What? Leah cried. I didn't know you had a twin, Jade said. How many siblings do you have? Jade said. A lot, I said. Hey, when you get out of here, we need to schedule a practice session before the band battle, Leah said. Yeah, we do. We also need to redo our song list, I said. I was thinking the same thing, June said. I think we should get a new band name, Jade said. What's wrong with the name we have now? I asked. Well, the old school band had it and we just kept it. I bet you can come up with a great band name, right, Naomi? Leah asked. Huh? Why me? Well, you are the leader here, Jade quipped. Since when? Since when was she the leader? I didn't think they had an established leader, but apparently they do. But I guess, whatever, I guess that doesn't surprise me that much. Because, you know, Naomi is just the best at everything she does. All right, give me some time and I'll tell you when we meet up for practice, I said. And then they said, okay, we gotta go. We gotta meet with our special effects guy. We're gonna be talking about the stage effects for the show. And then they leave and Naomi leans back in her bed, wondering what happens now, and how everybody is doing at the mansion. Something wrong? Jane asked. No, I'm fine, I lied. You look sad, she said. To tell the truth, I kind of am, I answered. Why? Jane asked. None of my family even knows I'm here, I said. Don't worry, I bet the doctors have contacted someone by now, Jane said. Doubt it, I muttered. So when do you think you're going to get out of here, she asked. Don't know, I said. She's probably gonna get out of there like within the next 5 minutes. That's what I'm guessing. The door opened and Joshua walked in. I was right. To answer your question, we're leaving now, he said. Really? I asked. Really? He said, tossing a bag on my bed. I looked in the bag to see some clothes. Oh, another J name, Joshua. Oh, Joshua, this is Jane, and Jane, this is my brother Joshua, I said as I hopped off the bed and headed to the bathroom to change. How'd you get violet eyes and your sister has sea blue eyes? Jane asked. That's a good question, Joshua said. I tugged on the black leather boots over my jeans and pulled on a long-sleeved black t-shirt. Ready? I asked Joshua. He nodded. I grabbed my guitar case. See you later, Jane, I said over my shoulder as we left. Bye, she said. We got down the hallway to the elevator and got in. After this, Josh was like, all right, you're walking home from here. I don't want to get in the car, which I don't blame him. Apparently everything in this town is very, very close to the woods where Naomi lives. The hospital is really close by. The bakery is really close by. The pizza place is really close by. The music store is really close by, which is nice. I feel like the town where I live is kind of like that, so I can't really, harp on her too hard for that. Joshua and Naomi go their separate ways. And before Joshua leaves, he says, make sure you take care of that big wound on your waist, he said. I placed my hand on my waist. How'd that happen? I asked. A piece of the dashboard got stuck there, he said. I cringed. See you later, Joshua said, walking off. If she has a giant wound in her waist, why is she getting taken out of the hospital? That's just a recipe for disaster. So it starts to rain a little bit. She's walking down the street to the woods, and then all of a sudden she smells smoke. She's like, is somebody camping? And then she realizes that the mansion has been lit on fire by a couple of arsonists, and everything clicks in her brain and she runs towards the mansion. My guitar case dropped from my back. I could feel the heat of the flames from where I stood. The mansion was a mass of flames and smoke. Those girls weren't kidding. They really set our house on fire. The girls meaning the arsonists. Where's Sally? I heard Ben ask in a scared tone. She was just here, Jeff said. Just then a loud high-pitched scream came from the house. She's still in there, Ben yelled. My legs acted on their own and I ran towards the house and into the flames. Sally, where are you? I yelled. Upstairs, she yelled. Stay there, I yelled back. I looked at the base of the stairs. It was surrounded by a wall of flames. I heard the boards of the ceiling begin to crack. I need to hurry before the house collapses, I thought. I quickly ran through the flames and up the stairs. Sally, which room are you in? I called. I'm in your room, she answered. I ran down the burning hall towards my room and stopped. The fire had burned a gigantic hole in the floor. I would have to jump to get across because there was no other way to get into my room. I backed up and took a running jump across the hole. As I landed, the board cracked under my foot and I broke away. I plummeted for a second and gripped the boards with my hands, dangling over the fiery depths of the floor below. If I let go, I'd be engulfed by the flames below. I felt the boards holding me crack a little. I gripped the boards and pulled myself up. Use that dark angel strength, Neo! You can do it! Save Sally! Most importantly, save your cat! The house suddenly shook violently. It was coming down! I rushed inside my room to see Sally crouched in the corner, crying and holding a large bag, along with a ball of fluff that was my kitten, Krista. It doesn't say if she's alive or not. I really hope the cat's alive. Oh my god, please, if the cat dies, I am not reading the story anymore, I swear to god. Sally, it's okay, I'm here, I said, rushing over and picking her up. I'm glad you're alive, she said, wrapping her arms around my neck. Why'd you come back in here, I asked. If I didn't, Krista would have died. Thank God. Thank you, Sally. I love you. I also saved some of your things, she said, clutching the big bag and kitten. Well, we don't have time to talk now. The house is going to come down any second, I said. I rushed out of the room. Sally, you could have died going back in here, I said. I know, she said. I ran down to where the hole, semicolon, was that had gotten slightly bigger. How are you going to get over that, she asked. I've got it this time, I muttered. I sat Sally down. Climb on my back and hold on tight, I said. She did, as she was told, and jumped onto my back. I held onto the bag and stepped back and jumped across the hole. Once again, the house shook as I jumped, so my timing was off. When I landed, Sally slipped from my back. She caught onto the ledge and hung there. I quickly grabbed her arms and pulled her up and ran towards the stairs. The stairs are completely engulfed in flames. There's no other way out, she said. There's always a way out. Good. Good positive thinking, Naomi. I like that. Which one of the rooms down there has a window overlooking the front lawn? I asked. EJ's room, first door on the right, she said. I ran down the hall and into the room. What are you going to do? Sally asked. I'm going to jump through the window backwards so I hit the ground first and hopefully you'll be safe and just get minor injuries, I said, handing her the bag. Hold on tight to the bag and Krista, I said. She nodded. I ran towards the window and twisted around backwards, just in time so my back went through the window. It was a free fall through the air. Chapter 7. I wish I could do something, but suddenly Sally and I were on the ground and unscathed. I opened my eyes and looked around. I let Sally go. We're safe, I said to her. She looked around. You did it! You managed to save us both, she said. I dropped to the ground. There was a loud snapping sound and the roof of the house collapsed, bringing the rest of the house down with it. Now what, Slender? Ben asked. Slender sighed. Come on, Slender Dad, save us! I had a feeling this would happen. I've got a place we can stay, he said. I got up from the ground and picked up the guitar case. Slender had us follow him deeper into the woods. I trailed behind the group and looked around. It was extremely quiet in the deeper part of the woods. Sally walked back to me holding Krista and took my hand. It's good to have you back, she said, smiling. I smiled back. It's been really gloomy without your smile around, Sally continued on. We really have missed you. Especially me, Maskey said. I flushed a bright red. Oh yeah, like the dude who you forgot was your new boyfriend? Come on. We finally stopped in front of another mansion, which was 2 stories higher, as well as wilder than ours. I'm pretty sure she means wider, but it says... I'm just imagining like either like a sick like creepypasta house party where there's like, I don't even know who would be the DJ. I'm like thinking about all of this now. Like somebody would be on the decks like spinning like creepy like witch house music. People would be like dancing, but they'd be like, it's either gonna be like a really like sick house party or it would be like that house you see in pretty much, or like almost every neighborhood where there's like a bunch of cars like parked out front and some of the cars like don't have wheels and there's like always someone out in the front like smoking like rolled cigarettes or like chewing tobacco just like glaring at you as you walk or drive or bike past, just kind of like that. That's the kind of image I have in my head, but those are the 2 kinds of houses that I grew up around, so it's kind of etched into here. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Who lives here? I asked. A girl named Kendi and a boy named Clayton, Slender said. Just 2 people for a house this massive? Ben asked. Slender knocked on the door. The door opened instantly to reveal a girl with blonde hair, pale skin, and ice blue eyes. I noticed she had an aquamarine pendant around her neck. Oh, Slender, it's you. Come on in, she said. I'm just imagining her just like sitting next to the door, just like waiting very eagerly. It's like knock, knock, open. I've never understood that like in movies or in TV shows where someone like knocks on the door and someone like instantly is there to open the door. It's like, I do that when I'm waiting for my food to be delivered. But if somebody just comes and knocks on my door, 1, I live in an apartment complex, so I'm like, how the fuck did you get in past those doors that are like double doors? And 2, I'm gonna pretend that I'm not home, because if you do not tell me you're coming over, I am not gonna answer the door. Just that simple. Slender motioned for us to come inside. We filled in. First things first, does this house have a cloaking device? Slender asked. Yes, why? The girl asked. We had a mishap with some people from the city, he said. They burned our house down, Sally said, sniffling. The house is only visible to us killers, the girl said. Thank you. Now then, everyone, this is Kendi, Slender said. Kendi waved. I set up rooms for each of you on the 2nd floor. It should be like your rooms at your old home. Each door has your names on it, Kendi said. Were they being expected? Because I feel like that's a lot of energy work to do, or that's a lot of work to do to set up individual rooms for that many people. For a house that big, for 1 person. Because I kind of feel, whatever. Let's go, Sally said, dragging me towards the stairs. I laughed. Everyone ran up the stairs in search of their room. I walked down the hall and looked at the doors. Where's my room? Ben yelled. It's down here next to mine, Sally called. I have a flat screen TV and a bunch of video games, Ben yelled. I guess everyone's room is customized to what they like, I thought. I finally found my room. It was positioned between Jeff and Maskey's room. How convenient. I opened the door and walked in. It was an extremely large room. It had a queen-sized bed with a canopy on it. On the other side of the room was a guitar amp, 2 medium-sized speakers, a guitar stand, and a door. I took my guitar out of its case and placed it on the stand. There was also a keyboard. Nice, I said. On the other side of the room were a closet, a desk, and another door. I guess the doors lead to the other rooms, I thought. This is just gonna be open season for teenage shenanigans, I tell you what. I sat on the bed and looked out the window. And then she has a moment where she talks with Kendi. Kendi is like, hey, look at these dolls. And then, you know, once she finishes talking to Kendi, she goes back to her room, closes the door, and slumps against it. I closed my eyes and entered into the world of darkness. The same darkness had tried to take Sally. The same darkness had tried to kill Joshua and me. The same darkness that will forever haunt my nightmares. The darkness that won't stop at anything to destroy me and the ones I love. Darkness that is Zalgo. I stood up. So then, pull a Jeff and cut your eyelids off, I guess. Jeez. I don't need to think about this now. It's not the time. Now I need to think about leading my band to victory. Priorities! I don't need to, like, figure out, like, how to defeat Zalgo. I have to lead my band to victory! Blah! I had band practice the next day, and I had the task of renaming the band. I decided I would surprise the girls with a new band name and an official band shirt. I headed down the stairs with my bag to find Sally dressing up Smile Dog in a fluffy outfit. Are you going somewhere? She asked, seeing my bag. Yeah, I'll be back soon. Just tell everyone I headed to the store to do a little shopping, I said. Okay, but before you go, you might want to take the potion Slender gave us, she said. I got it in my bag, I said, opening the door and walking out. So she goes to the t-shirt store. Can I help you? He asked in a dull tone, the one that is familiar with everybody who works in customer service and has lost the will to live. Yeah, I want to customize a t-shirt for my band, I said. He looked at me and blinked. Don't I know you from somewhere, he asked. I shrugged. I don't know, maybe, I said. Oh yeah, now I remember. You're Jade's friend, right? He asked. Yeah. Oh, you're Nate, her boyfriend, I said. Nate nodded. So what's this shirt supposed to look like, he asked. Well, it's black and has the name Queens of Insanity on it, I said. Okay, what color do you want those letters, Nate asked. Blood red. There are other shades of red than blood red, but I guess blood goes with the theme of insanity, but there is scarlet, there is crimson, there is lipstick red, there is true red. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I want the queens to have a crown on it and for there to be a knife under insanity, I said. Wicked cool shirt, Nate said. And I'll need 4 shirts. Also, don't tell Jade. It's a surprise, I said. I won't tell her, Nate said. Thanks. What time do you think the shirts will be done? I asked. Well, I've got the black shirts in stock now, so I'd say 20 to 25 minutes, he said. All right, I'll just wait here then, I said. All right, I'll be back as soon as I can, Nate said. I sat down in one of the chairs and took out my phone. I stared at my home screensaver, which is a picture of me and Jeff. Boo, Jeff. I shook my head and opened my phone and started deleting every picture with him in it. Good job, Naomi. Good job. I sat my phone down and took out my notebook and a pencil and started working on our song list. I heard the door's bell ding as someone entered. I looked up to see who it was and immediately regretted doing so. 3 guesses who this could be, folks. The person who walked in was Grace, and following behind her was Jeff. I pulled my notebook closer to my face, hoping they wouldn't see me. Oh my goodness, is that Naomi? Grace asked in a fake happy voice. I sighed. Hello, Grace, I said through gritted teeth. Relax, would you? I don't want to fight. I just want to talk, she said. I lowered my notebook. About what? I asked. About the band battle, of course, she said. All right, so talk, I said. Well, first of all, oh my God. Oh my God. Why? Well, first of all, I just wanted to tell you I've added a new member to my band, she said. Who is it? I asked. It's Jeff, she said, jumping a little. I almost shouted, but I contained it. Well, isn't that nice? I guess we're rivals now. So, what are you going to play? I said, looking at Jeff. I'm singing, Jeff said. Yeah, we're singing a duet from one of my favorite movies, and we're dedicating it to you, she said, smirking. Oh yeah? I asked, suspicious. Yup, it's going to be your and Jeff's official breakup song, she said. I opened my mouth to speak, but Grace beat me to it. Baby, you should sing it with him instead of me, Grace said, laughing. Nate walked over carrying a box. Why don't you leave her alone, Grace? Nate said. Why? It's fun to pick on her, Grace said. It's okay, Nate. I'm just going to leave, I said, fighting back tears. I pushed past Grace and walked to the door. You won't ever leave me, right, Jeff? Grace asked him. Yeah, he muttered. Oh, golly. It's Jeff! He's singing in the band now! Blah! Chapter Chapter 8. I pushed open the door and walked down the road, letting my tears flow. I went back into the woods and back to the mansion. I walked inside and headed upstairs to my room. I opened the door and set the box on the bed. I pulled out the shirts and looked at them. Awesome, I said. I smiled and picked up my guitar and started practicing the songs I chose for our band to play. I stopped after a few hours and placed my guitar back on the stand. I heard one of the doors close and rustling in one of the rooms adjacent to mine. I listened carefully and figured it was coming from Jeff's room. I heard the click of a speaker come on and music playing. I listened as he started to sing with the song. He had a really good voice. Jeffy. One of the lyrics came clear through the door. You'll be better off without me, he sang. I didn't want to hear any more of the song. I walked out of my room and headed downstairs into the front door. Naomi, is something wrong? Maskey asked as I walked past him. No, I'm okay, I said. All right, where are you going? He asked. Just going for a walk, I said. Want some company? He asked. I guess, I said. So what they do now is she's like, I want to see if there's anything salvageable back at the old mansion. And they walk to it and they pick through like the burned rubble, and Naomi finds a picture that was in a picture frame that was taken just after, it's like a family picture of sorts that was taken after she and Jeff first got to the mansion, and she decides to take it back, and she and Maskey are now walking through the woods back to the house. So, how's the band coming along? Maskey asked. It's fine, I guess. Grace has recruited Jeff into her band, I said. Wow, that's low, Maskey said. I nodded. We kept walking. Maskey started softly singing. I recognized the song and we started harmonizing with him. We sang the entire way back home. You have a great voice, we both said at the same time. I laughed. Hey, I just got a great idea. Would you like to be in the band? I asked. God, Naomi, no. What? Maskey asked. Please, I just know it would help a lot, I said. I don't know, Naomi. I don't do well in front of big crowds, he said. I sighed. All right, that's fine. I respect your feelings, I said. We walked inside. And then they get home and Slender Dad is like, where have you two been? Don't you know there are monsters prowling outside in the woods, you fucking idiots? He doesn't say you fucking idiots. That's just my sentiment for the whole thing. And so Naomi's like, I'm going to my room. Someone can come get me when dinner is ready. Jeff is still in his room singing. And she opens up the bag that Sally saved for her. I looked through the bag that Sally had saved for me and took out a stuffed bear that Jeff had given to me for Valentine's Day. I sat on my bed and looked at the bear. The song started over and I harmonized and sang the girl part with him. This can't be over. This is the end, I sang, and hugged the bear tightly. I knew I had to get over him, but how could I when I still had feelings for him? Dude, you've been broken up for like not that long. Like you probably haven't even had time to process it because most of the time that you've been broken up, you've been in a coma. But you are way better off without him because why would you want to get back together with somebody who like punched you in the fucking face? That's bullshit. Don't do it, Naomi. Don't do it. I stared at the wall that separated us. Separated for life, I thought. Tears dropped onto the bear I was holding. I needed to know why he broke up with me. Because he's being mind controlled by Grace. Duh. I guess she doesn't really know that, but I held the bear with one hand and walked over to the door that separated our rooms and knocked on it. Yeah, come in, Jeff said. I opened the door and stood there. Jeff turned the music down a little and looked at me. Hey, I said softly. Hi, he said. We stood there in silence for a long time. I spoke after a while. Why'd you do it? I asked. Do what? He asked, looking at me. Why'd you go off with Grace? I asked. Oh, that, he said. Tell me what's going on, I said. I would like to, but I can't, he said, turning away from me. Why won't you tell me? Is she blackmailing you or something? I asked, concerned. No, she isn't, Jeff said. Please, I want to help you, I said, placing my hand on his arm. He pulled away. Well, you can't, all right? The truth is, I like Grace and I never liked you, and no one else will ever love you, he said. I dropped the stuffed bear I was holding and felt my heart shatter. So all that time we spent together was fake, I asked. What part do you not understand, Naomi? Jeff asked angrily. Tears threatened to fall down my cheeks. All right, I get it, I said. I walked down to Maskey's room and knocked on the door. He opened it. Oh, God. I can't help but feel kind of bad for Maskey. It's always hard being that person that somebody comes to, like, right after a breakup, because you can't help but feel like you're, like, that person's, like, emotional dumping ground, and they're just with you just to, like, get over that other person. It's hard in situations like that. But I kind of doubt the person who wrote this has any kind of, like, empathy or whatever for situations like that. But speaking from firsthand experience, being in that situation really sucks. I'm feeling a lot more, I'm like rooting for Maskey in this story, like harder than I'm rooting for like anybody else. Like I'm rooting for Maskey, I'm rooting for Sally, and I'm rooting for the kitten, and that's it. I walked down to Maskey's room and knocked on the door. He opened it. Hey Naomi, what's up? He said. He had his mask off. I stayed silent and looked at the floor. He noticed something was wrong and hugged me. I broke down crying. Tell me what happened, he said. I told him everything that had happened. And then he told me he never loved me and no one else would, I said. That sucks though. Well, that's definitely wrong, Masky said. I looked at him. It's wrong because I love you, he said, brushing my hair out of my face. I smiled and blushed. He leaned in close and kissed me. He pulled away after a bit. That right there was my wish. When we went to see the shooting stars, I said. Mask smiled, his blue eyes shining. I hugged him tightly. But he already said that he loved her. That was during an out-of-body experience, so I guess it doesn't count. Think you'll be okay, he asked. I nodded, smiling. There's that beautiful smile I love, he said. I laughed. Can you keep a secret? I asked. Yeah, why? I want to show you something, I said, walking towards the door. I can't risk anyone seeing, so come outside with me, I said, seeing the confused look on Masky's face. He nodded and followed me. I stopped at the top of the stairs. Actually, I want to try something. Let me see your hand, I said, holding my hand out to him. Why? What are you going to do? He asked. Relax, I won't hurt you, I said. All right, Masky said, putting his hand on top of mine. I closed my hand around his and closed my eyes and thought about the forest outside. Huh, how did we get outside? Masky asked, surprised. I opened my eyes and looked around. It worked, I said. What worked? Wait a minute, can you... Okay, it's like spaced really weird. Wait a minute, can you slender teleport, he asked. No, just regular teleportation, I said. How is that possible, he asked. Just watch and I'll explain everything, I said. I can't see anything, it's too dark, he said. All right, I can fix that, I said. I opened the palm of my hand and small bubbles of fire bobbed and floated around us. Woo! How are you doing that? This has to be a trick. This is a trick, right? He asked. Nope, it's all real, I said. He stood there, stunned. I opened my other hand and snowflakes swirled around my hand. Cool, right? But I asked. Masky stood there speechless. I probably should have kept this to myself, I said. The snowflakes faded, but the fire remained illuminating the area around us. He finally spoke after a while. Naomi, what are you? He asked. I'm not evil, if that's what you're asking. You kind of are, Naomi. You kind of are evil. You enjoy killing people. You think it's fun to be psycho. You're kind of evil. But I guess that's where the angel part comes into it, because you're not entirely evil, but you are kind of evil, so... I said, starting to walk in the direction of the road. The fire bubbles followed me. No, that's not what I'm asking at all. I just want to know how you're doing all this, he said. Look, you have to promise me that you won't tell anyone, I said. He nodded. All right, the reason I can do all these things is that I'm a dark angel, I said. That's cool, he said. I smiled. So do you have hidden wings or something? Masky asked, circling behind me. I'm not sure, I said. How'd you figure all this out? He asked. Oh, after I almost got hit by that car, my brother saved me. I'm guessing he has the same powers as me, I said. Basically, he just asks like, oh, you have a brother, how did you meet? And then Naomi just tells them about, meeting him and blah, 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 that they're twins. And then they realize they're walking around and Masky's like, we should probably get back because we wouldn't want to run into one of Zalgo's minions or Scarecrow or something like that. So what kind of creatures are on his side, I asked. Well, there's Bob, Masky began. Bob? What kind of name is that? I asked, laughing. You shouldn't laugh. Bob stands for brutal, obscene beast, he said. All right, so what does he do? I asked. He has no arms and fights with his legs. He kicks in glass doors and will kill you on the spot if he sees you, Masky said. Wow, how powerful are his legs? I asked. Extremely powerful, Masky said. Great, I muttered. Stick my leggy out really far. I started making mental notes in my head of all these creatures. Then there's the Rake and Scarecrow girl, which you've seen, Masky said. Go on, I said, looking around the woods. All right, so there's this girl named Brielle. She can turn into a dragon. Then there are Zalgo's children, Trinity, Katie, Ash, and Lizzie. Katie is a water demon that uses a blue sword. Trinity is an ice demon that has a crystal sword. Ash is a wind demon. Get caught in her wind vortex and you'll get the life sucked out of you. And finally there was Lizzie, who was a fire demon, he said. Let me guess, they control water, ice, wind, and fire, I asked. Dumb bitch? Masky nodded. And last, there's one other person that none of us had met. I hear that he's Zalgo's right-hand minion, Masky said. I figured his daughters would have been the right hand, I said. Whoever the person is at his right hand is stronger than all of Zalgo's creatures combined, Masky said. That's kind of scary. I said, yeah, I agree, he said. So what does Bob sound like? Does he talk, I asked. No. He kind of makes this weird hissing noise, Masky said. Suddenly a low hiss and growl came from somewhere around us. Yeah, like that. I didn't know you could imitate voices, he said, looking at me. I looked at him with a look of fright on my face. I can't imitate voices, I said, looking at him. The winds whistled through the trees. Hisses and growls emanated from every direction. I noticed something out of the corner of my eye and turned to look at what it was. It appeared gray and wore no clothes. Its body was all gnarled and it was extremely ugly. Suddenly, as it noticed me looking, it hissed and ran full speed straight at us. Don't just stand there staring at it, Masky said, grabbing my arm. Right, I said. Duh. We took off running in the other direction, not knowing where we were going. I looked behind me and skidded to a halt. Hang on, it's not following us anymore, I said. Masky stopped and turned around. That doesn't mean we should stop running, he said. Smart! Masky! Hashtag Team Masky, 100%! Yeah, but we're supposed to fight. We're killers, remember? I asked. Yeah, but these creatures are hard to beat. We've tried and we can't defeat them, Masky said. Fine, I said, turning towards the direction of the mansion. Hang on, you aren't going anywhere, I heard a girl's voice say. I stopped, recognizing the sound of the voice. Hello, Scarecrow, I said. How are you still alive? She asked, pointing her scythe at me. I have my ways, I said. Well, looks like I'll just have to kill you myself, she said. How are you alive? Last time we met, you were on fire, I said. I'm still of use to Zalgo, so he gave me a second chance, she said. Well, let's make this fair. A fight to the death, I said. Fine, but you can't kill me without fire, she said. I'm pretty sure if they used fire last time, they can use it again, so... Be careful, Masky said. I nodded. I stuck my hands in my pockets. Go ahead, swing, I said. You're making this too easy. It's like you want to die, she said. I shrugged. She swung her scythe at me and it went through empty air. Try again, I said, appearing at her right. She swung again and missed. I thought you were good at this, I said. If you would quit moving, she said, rapidly swinging. I kept a safe distance out of her reach by teleporting in a circle around her. You done yet? I asked. Fine, you try and hit me, she said. Gladly, I said. One of the fire bubbles appeared in my hand. Can you catch? I asked, tossing the bubble up in the air. What? She asked. Can you catch? I asked again. Yeah, I can catch, Scarecrow said irritably. Catch this then, I said, throwing the fire bubble at her. She caught it without thinking and instantly her hands burst into flames traveling up her arms. She screamed in agony as the flames reached her face. I watched as the flames burned her away to nothing but ash. That was awesome, Masky said. Thanks, but we better get going before Bob finds us, I said. No sooner had I said that than a loud hiss emitted from the bushes 10 feet away from us. Run, I said. No need to tell me twice, Masky said, running through the trees. I ran behind him, looking back to see Bob running after us. I stopped running and stood there watching it get closer. I stared straight into its eyes, and it stared right back into mine. It stopped within 2 feet of me and hissed angrily. I heard Masky yelling my name, telling me to run. I took a step forward. Bob hissed and kicked its leg out towards my face. I caught it with both hands before it reached me. Bob hissed and struggled to get away, but I held on tight. As I did, ice began to form on its leg, moving up towards its abdomen. Bob kicked with its other leg, and I ducked and tackled it to the ground, holding my hands at its neck. Ice began forming, moving up and down its body. It hissed one last time before it came encased in ice. I stood up and staggered a bit. The encounter had drained a lot out of me. I sighed and leaned against a nearby tree. Masky ran over. Are you all right? He asked. Yeah, I think so, I said. I felt something warm on my shirt. I placed my hand on my waist and it came back all bloody. What happened? Masky asked. Oh, this isn't from my fight with Bob. I got this in that car accident with my brother, I said. When were you in a car accident? She tells him about the car accident and that, Zalgo was like, caused the car to flip over. I think Zalgo was specifically targeting you, Masky says. What? I asked. And so they go back to the mansion and she, there's like more blood like coming out of her wound. Blood is like seeping through her shirt. Masky is like, I need my medical kit. Jeff is like, what happened? And Naomi's like, why should I tell you? So she goes to Masky's room and, Ben is like, what happened, Naomi? She's like, I'll tell you all later, and rolls her eyes because she's a teenager. So she sits down in a chair in Masky's room while he's looking for his medical kit, and she looks in a mirror. Once again, my reflection smiled that same evil smile at me. It had red eyes and pointed teeth like a vampire's. I blinked and my reflection was back to normal. Found it, Masky said, crawling out of his closet with a black case. All right, let's see the cut, he said. I nodded and showed him. Wow, he said. Yeah, I know. A piece of the car's dashboard got lodged in there, I said. Sorry, this might sting a little, he said, placing a rag with alcohol on the wounds. I winced a little. Here, bite on this, Masky said, handing me a towel. Why? I asked. I'm going to cauterize the wound. It's impossible to stitch up, he said, holding up a lighter. Are you serious? I asked. Yes, I'm serious, Masky said. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to get someone to hold me down because I will struggle and fight against you, I said. I'll go get Ben, Masky said, leaving. I nodded. A little while later, he came back in, followed by Ben, who was holding what looked to be cables. So what am I supposed to do exactly, Ben asked. Use those cables you have and hold her down while I cauterize her wound, Masky said. I was wondering why you had me bring these cables, Ben said. Well, you can control electricity, Masky said. Ben nodded. What? Ben nodded. He held out his hand towards the cables and they started moving. I sat there with nervousness in my eyes. The cables wrapped themselves around my leg, binding them together, and then they wrapped around my arms, binding them to my sides. But doesn't he need to get to her side to get to her? Whatever. Good, now just hold her like that, Masky said to Ben. Yeah, just hurry, all right, Ben asked. I heard the lighter click on. I felt the warmth of the flame close to my skin. It wasn't bad at first, and then it started to burn like heck. I let out the loudest blood-curdling scream ever. I strained against the cables. Come on, Naomi, don't make this harder for me, Ben said. The cables started snapping one by one against my struggling. It hurts so much. I can't really mock her there. Getting a wound cauterized does not sound very fun. I screamed again. The mirror in the room cracked and shattered. The light started flickering madly. What's going on? Ben asked, tightening the hold on the cables. Masky didn't answer him. I writhed right and left, screaming and trying to break free. The house is now starting to shake. Hey, Masky, hurry up, would you? I can't hold her for much longer, Ben said. Naomi, listen to me. You're okay. I'm right here, Masky said over my shouting. I started to calm down a little, still struggling here and there. Hold on, just a bit more, please, Masky said. I hyperventilated for a while. The house stopped shaking and the lights stopped flickering. Okay, Ben, you can let her go now, Masky said, placing a bandage on my wound. For some reason, I am imagining him, like, doing all this, like, intense medical work and, like, you know, like, the lights are flickering and everything's, like, screaming and the house is shaking, and then he's like, okay, you can let her go, and he takes, like, a pink, like, Hello Kitty Band-Aid and just, like, you know, and, like, kisses it. I felt the cords drop away from me. What's going on here? Ben asked. Go downstairs and get everyone together, and we'll tell you there, Masky said. Ben shrugged and walked off. I stared at the wall in a daze. Naomi, are you okay? Masky asked. I didn't speak, I just stared at the wall. Naomi, Masky said, waving his hand in front of my face. I looked at him. What happened? He asked. I shrugged. What do you mean what happened? I asked. The lights, the mirror, and the house shaking, and that scream you made. I felt my heart stop, Masky said. Maybe my powers are unstable, I said, standing up. Noob. It was the weirdest thing, he said. Sorry, I muttered. It's not your fault. You just don't know how to control your power yet, Masky said. Yeah, we should go downstairs. Everyone is waiting, I said, leaving the room. Masky followed. A boy walked out of one of the rooms. His clothes were splattered with blood, of course. He had brown eyes, blonde hair, and a scar that was stitched almost all the way around his neck. He looked at us. Oh, hey, you must be the new killers, right? He asked. Yeah, I'm Naomi, and this is Masky, I said, motioning to Masky, who stood next to me. I'm Clayton, the boy said, smiling at me. So why are we all meeting in the living room? Clayton asked. You'll see soon enough, I said. Ah, girl of mystery, I like that, Clayton said. Masky stepped in front of me to show Clayton that I was his. Clayton nodded to show he understood. Masky big strong man, Masky sensitive, Masky protect. Come on, you two, I said, walking down the stairs. The boys followed after me. Everyone was sitting on the couch or in chairs. Clayton went over and sat on the floor. So why have you called us here? Jeff asked. Fuck you, Jeff! Well, as you know, Zalgo's creatures have been seen throughout the woods, Masky said. Everyone nodded. But I don't think they're targeting us. I think they're specifically targeting Naomi, Masky said. Eviction! What? Sally asked in horror. Yes, Masky's right. While we were out walking, we were attacked by Scarecrow Girl and Bob. They both came after me, I said. You two are correct. And I think there is a reason they are attacking you, Naomi. Am I right? Slenderman asked. I nodded. That is why you were all gathered here like this. I have something to tell you about my past that I just recently found out, I said. Everyone looked at me. Hit the light switch, Masky, I said. He nodded and turned out the lights. He nodded and turned the lights off. I snapped my fingers and a dozen or so fireballs illuminated the room and danced around me. Ooh, so pretty, Sally said. I smiled a little. This is so amazing, Ben said. Sally reached up to touch one and I moved it out of her reach. Aw, I wanted to touch it, she whined. Here, you can touch this, I said. Small snowflakes began falling where she sat. This is really amazing, EJ said. What are you, Naomi? Jeff asked. Masky clicked the lights on. I am a dark angel, I said. Do you have wings? Sally asked hopefully. It's possible. I honestly don't know all I can do, I said. I told everyone about my brother and how I met Simon. I told them about the futures I had seen when I died. Guys, I'm really scared, Sally said. I will do my best to protect every single one of you, I said. Suddenly, the house started shaking. Naomi, Ben shouted. It's not me, I said. The house shook again. I threw open the front door and stepped outside. A black shadowy figure stood 10 feet away from the house. It was Zalgo. And that is the end of chapter 8. Oh my god, cliffhanger. Whoa. All right, not the most exciting of chapters to begin with. It's just like drama llama ding dong, but yeah. We'll see where this goes. I have a feeling that Naomi is still way more concerned about fighting the Battle of the Bands and beating Grace than she is about beating Zalgo, because when you're a teenager, beating up your bullies is like the most important thing in your life. Apparently. I don't know. I gotta hand it to Nisha Nicole Nicholson. You know, good job for channeling your anger towards your bullies into a book and something constructive, because this is slightly concerning. And I did read a little bit further into the book, and there are some things in here that are very concerning, which I'm going to read later. And yes, that is the end of this video, and I am going to be recording more of these. I think we are about halfway through the book now. So there are 365 pages in this book, and as of chapter 9, I am at page 158. So we're getting there, and I think the chapters are still kind of long, like moving forward. So I'm gonna do my best to read multiple chapters at a time. If the chapters are short, like chapters 6 and 7, I'm gonna read 3 chapters. If they are long, like chapter 8, I'm gonna read 2, because I don't want to make videos that are horrifically long, because I know my videos are very long. And I appreciate your patience with watching them, and I hope that they are entertaining to watch. But yes, also editing really long videos is not very fun. And I don't like listening to myself talk for that long of an amount of time. So anyway, awkward, long, rambly send-off. I love and appreciate every single one of you who take time out of your day to watch these videos. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful week, weekend, whatever part of the week you are watching this video at, and I will see you all in the next one. Love you. Bye.